Good evening, everybody. I'll call our regular public council meeting for December 12th, 2022 to order. Thank you. Councillor Goss.
Congratulations.
Secretary.
Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Lacy, would you want to get on the first Q&A?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, can we get a motion to adopt the agenda as amended, please?
So
Moved.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, first thing is minutes of public council meeting November 28th. Can we get a motion to adopt this, please?
So moved.
Moved, seconded. Okay, all right, any errors or omissions? All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Conflict of interest, did everybody have a look at that sheet? All around there? All good? Okay. Proclamations, we have a presentation there from Councillor Appleby on FCM, she'll have to put that in, I guess, for next month. There's only attached to that, so. Okay, mayor's report. Short, sweet. Going to do our birthdays for December. John Chaplin, Robert Hussey, Mark Whalen, Bob Tapper, and Noel Ward. Happy birthday, everybody. Have a safe and happy birthday. Go forward. And Guy, yours was yesterday. Happy belated. And Robert Hussey's is today, so happy birthday, Robert. All right. Next, Mrs. Horizon. Any Mrs. Horizon from you? So I think part of our review of our rules, I'm gonna ask that we go back to some form of including stuff in there, all of that we used to have before.
The directors are updating the reports, and starting with the first meeting in the new year, that report will be back on the agenda.
Okay. Feel that some members feel like they're missing, so, it's good, thank you. All right, correspondence.
Excuse me, Rich, just on that note, in terms of business arising and the information that we seek, can we, I think at one point in time, last year maybe, or maybe previous council too, we had asked about a resting place for all the motions, so we could actually go and look at all the motions at any point in time? Because I know lately I've been looking for some motions, not one in particular, but just to see what we motioned. Is there some place we can have a bank of motions, so we can just run down through, so we know exactly what we closed off?
We've asked for that, I've asked for that because it used to come out from each department, and the motion would be there, and then it would say when it was actioned, and somewhere along the way, this council, that, the last council, I think it went by department, but it used to be there as a whole, but it was split up.
Yeah.
And that was always really good because you could go down and see what was after happening.
So that's just a folder we stick on the drive, right?
Mm.
Okay. Council to see it. That's fine. All right, so we've got a correspondence here from PMA. Just talking. Jones. Anyway, sorry about that. So we have a motion here from PMA, or a letter, sorry. It's just talking about training, I think, Don, is it?
No, it wasn't training, it was related to staffing, I think.
Oh, okay.
It's
So
just
where
the
is-
encouragement for councils to consider having their staff as members of PMA in addition to the training opportunities. So that discussion, I guess, has already been held as part of budget process. That's a letter they send out every year
Yep.
to all municipalities.
Okay, and I did notice at the end of it there, they also talk about the the elected officials can avail of PMA training workshops too, and they encourage that. So if anybody has interest in any of that stuff that PMA is putting off, you can have a look at it for in the new year. All right, Byrne Regional, they're asking us to have a look at or do an assessment on the street lighting on Kennedy Brook Drive. So we'll forward that one out of Public Works.
I'll speak to the director on that one tomorrow, hopefully if he's back. Yep.
All right, thank you. All righty, committees of council. Planning and Land Use Development, Councillor Pollard.
Thank you, Worship. We met on December 7th, myself, Councillor Tapper, Jason, and Director Schwartz. The first motion relates to a home office for HR Consulting at 1751 Torbay Road. Motion to conditionally approve application BR 2022-008 for a home office at 1751 Torbay Road in accordance with regulations 33 and 90 of the Torbay Development Regulations 2015 to 2025 pertaining to discretionary uses and subject to the development meeting the town's standard condition for home office uses in the RI land use zones. So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Comments or questions?
There's nothing out of the ordinary associated with this one also.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Next one relates to a domestic sawmill, light industrial use at 74 Evenings Path Road. Everyone remembers it's similar to one we had a while back for down in the Western Pond area, Western Island Pond, and similar to that. There was one objection, I do believe, and some concerns, but the concerns are addressed and addressable in terms of times of operation and the taking away of sawdust and things of that nature. So we didn't see any issue with it. There's a big piece of land and it's buffered on two sides by trees in the back of the person's house, and then there's a big open space between that person and the next person's house, and the person who actually put in the objection was 2 houses up from that, so it should be minimum, and it was used during the hours of noise, then it should be all fine. So the motion is to conditionally, to conditionally approve application DP 2022-004 for the use of a portable band sawmill at 74 Evenings Path for domestic use in accordance with regulations 33 and 90 of the Torbay Development Regulations 2015 to 2025, subject to the following conditions. All standard conditions and requirements for building and development within the town of Torbay. No sale of finished wood products from the property. Mill unit to be operated in the rear behind the existing accessory building on the property. Operation is limited to weekend use no later than 7 p.m. during daylight hours. The proposal shall meet the conditions requirements of the RI land use zone. Must adhere to the town of Torbay's noise and nuisance regulations. Must adhere to the Provincial Department of Fisheries and Forestry and Agriculture domestic mill license conditions. There shall be no storage of bulk debris or material on the property. No storage of waste byproduct. All waste byproduct must be removed from the property if not used. So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
The next two motions actually refer to our Great Pond project, and we're trying to get the jump on it. So the motions are subject to the approval in the 2023 budget, which we had hoped would have been done by now, but we know that they're there, and seemingly it should go through, but we just to cover it off and to get the jump on it rather than have to wait another month or something to start get the ball rolling. So the first one is the proposal by WSP outlining next steps and further defining the process components and cost options for the provision of water treatment at Great Pond, which is currently being considered as a new municipal water supply source for the town. The schedule to complete the study is approximately 4 months from start to finish, and the cost to complete the study is estimated to be $42,943.30 inclusive of HST. So the motion reads, motion to approve WSP E&I Canada Limited to proceed with Great Pond water treatment option study at the estimated $42,943.30 including HST, subject to council adoption of the 2023 budget. So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded, comments? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried.
And in relation to the same, the next one relates to the servicing area and the whole discussion around how we might connect up to the existing and where we might go with the new infrastructure once it comes in ground. So there needs to be a study done for that, and that's needed as well to get the, I think, the DFO portion out of the way, or environment out of the way. So the town of Probation received a proposal by WSPEI and Canada Limited outlining the next steps in developing a water system servicing study for Great Pond. The intent of this study is to look at the long-term servicing options for the town from a newly constructed Great Pond system, including preliminary phasing and cost assessment. The scheduled study is to complete, it'll be about 5 months, to complete from start to finish. We estimate a cost of $57,258.50. So the motion reads, motion to approve WSP E&I Canada Limited to proceed with the Great Pond Water System Servicing Study at the estimated $57,258.50, including HST, subject to council's adoption of the 2023 budget. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
The only other one is to motion to accept the permit listings for weeks ending December 8th, 2022 as tabled. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Of
Carried.
course, all the other meeting notes are attached as well for anyone who wants to review and have any questions.
All right. Any
So,
questions on
report.
any of those notes? Good. All right, thank you, sir. Excuse me. Abandon HR, Councillor Manning.
Okay, we had our last meeting on December the 7th, myself and Deputy Mayor Thorngoss and Director Whalen. The first thing was discussed was communications coordinator, and we have a vacancy there right now. So the Director of HR and CAO are currently in the process of going through or revising the job description where necessary, and to get this advertised and get some movement on that now. It's certainly in the works. Policies and procedures, standing policy list is there, and we continue to work on that. We're come January now, more especially, we'll be hopefully making a bigger push on those policies and get those coming through in a steady process so that we can get those cleared up and in the system. The employee health and wellness series of employees, it's all there. It's every month they do different things, and that just continues on. Other agenda items, discussion was on the organizational restructure proposal, INPW and Recreation. So we were provided with an update on the organizational restructuring proposal that's currently being evaluated by the CAO and Director of Human Resources, and both Directors of Recreation and Community Services and Infrastructure and Public Works. Currently reviewing the job description, and we'll get a further update on any additions and requirements that are going to be needed for that, which I expect it'll certainly be after the collective bargaining is all done and said and done. And on that note, the update is we were provided with an update with respect to the collective bargaining and the ongoing negotiations, and further update will be coming throughout the month of December as things progress. Other than that, the meeting was adjourned at 11:15, and our next meeting is December 19th. Anyone have any questions or concerns?
Just comment, I guess, more than anything, and it relates to the communications coordinator. And
Yes.
I think I've mentioned on a couple of occasions now, outside the council chambers, that we really need to put a push on this communications coordinator, because I think there are a lot of departments suffering because of work that's not necessarily in the wheelhouse that they're expected to do, and really should be done from a communications side of things and organization side of things. So this is, I think, very important that we, push to make sure we get that, and not only fill the position, make sure that we get the person that is best qualified to do what we need to do overall. Town our size needs to have really good control over all the communications and the organizations around that too, and you know, get someone solid in that position and keep them there for a period of time.
Absolutely, and that's the goal here for this turnaround too.
The other thing is on the collective bargaining side of things, and maybe CAO can answer. Do we get any feedback yet from the Department of Labour or anything in terms of when conciliation might start? And I noticed the name of the person, the conciliator, is assigned. I don't say they're going to do anything over Christmas. It'll probably be early January, I guess. What?
That's my understanding as well. The notice of the appointment of conciliator was forwarded to everybody, and I suspect, I did ask them when they anticipated getting together, but I haven't received a response to date, I guess because of the holiday season and everything, but I'll follow up to see if I can get them confirmed for a date.
And there won't be any more negotiation until conciliation.
No,
so the next one will be in the presence of the conciliator, right?
Correct, yep.
Just got a question there too, about the strategic plan, because that was something that we were going to adopt the same time as the budget, and we only had the one meeting on it, so what's the
I'm
latest?
working on that now, actually. Some other things that were on my plate. I'm trying to move several balls forward, so I know that's pressing, and I'm drafting it now, so I'll circulate that out as soon as I have it done. I anticipate it by the end of the week, actually.
Okay, so that we can have that as part of the budget process possibly then too.
Okay, any other questions? Good, thank you. Corporate Services, Councillor Tapper.
Okay, report is there, we met on December the 12th, I'm just reading it from the record. Payroll, regular payroll for 51 employees, 2-week period ended December 2nd, 2022, total $103,894.48. Accounts payable for 2-week period ended December 2nd, 2022, invoices in the amount of $1,164,342.34. So invoices for council approval.
Can you turn your microphone on, Ralph, please? Sorry. There you go.
Sure, I had it on. Want me to start over?
No, that's all right.
Okay. Sorry about that. Invoices for council approval. We have 10 operating invoices totaling $191,964.53. Invoice number 59401, A. Harvey and Company, $82,619.34. Invoice November 2022, CIBC Mellon pension contributions, $24,592.88. Invoice 3094520A, Narrow Marketing Limited, $5,433.07. Invoice 151243332, Narrow Marketing Limited, $5,452.58. Invoice November the 10th, 2022, NL Power, $10,742.11. Invoice 71412, Overhead Door Newfoundland Limited, $15,323.75. Invoice November the 16th to the 30th, 2022, Receiver General, $27,370.14. Invoice 217723, Triware Technology Inc., $5,750. Invoice G412748, Wood Environmental and Infrastructure Solutions, $6,193.33. Invoice 379910, Exlum Canada, $8,487.33. So moved for payment.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded, comments?
I just asked a question, why or where would we have had 2 garage doors installed?
Fire department, I think.
Correct.
Right?
So would that be then for charge back to the fire department, or are we, what way does that work? Okay.
Were the doors, they weren't damaged, were they? It wasn't the result of anything insurance claim or anything we could do? No one drove a truck through it or anything?
No, it just seemed to be strange that to be two, maybe they should be supply and install two garage doors for fire department, fire hall.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
So we have 7 capital invoices totaling $321,273.49. Invoice 22136, Grand Concourse Authority, $40,302.79. Invoice 22143, Grand Concourse Authority, Torbay War Memorial, $25,691.58. Invoice 22153, Grand Concourse Authority, $67,814.68. Invoice Torbay number 4, Museum Planners Group, $33,900. Invoice 25189, Terra Nova Motors, $63,980.25. Invoice 25187, Terra Nova Motors, $63,980.25. Invoice Claim 9, Wears Construction Limited, $25,603.94. So moved for payment.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Questions?
Just got a question on Pico's Ridge. So is that 40,000 for that hole in concrete that they put up there? Because that's what, so much that they got done this year? Would that be the case?
I don't know if that's a correct invoice for Grand Concourse. Pico's Ridge is Carew's. Can you just check that, Director?
Start humming to fill in the silence.
What you gonna say? Just some elevator music.
Not again.
When it's quiet, it makes it seem like it's a longer period of time than it actually is, you know, so. Break the silence, yeah, break the silence, yes.
That was actually, yes, Torbay War Memorial, planning and construction.
Oh, so not Pickles Ridge.
So can we make an amendment to, we'll make an amendment to that. So I would suspect the first one is probably claim 1. 22136 would be claim number 1, and then 22143 would be claim number 2. Would that be correct? And all that would be submitted back to ACOA and Veterans Affairs for their proportion as well.
Yes, the Governor's War Memorial as well, 2214.
Okay.
Two progress photos.
All right, good.
So does that motion have to be
No, it's just gotta be,
amended or?
it's just gotta be amended. The detail is not Pickles Ridge Memorial, it's Torbay War Memorial. Good. Okay, all right, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. So that was a friendly amendment to that detail, that's all.
Just on those Grand Concourse ones, is it possible that we can get a note to, like 102, 103, whoever it is, or what percentage of that project is done on those as well? Because I know Grand Concourse, when they'll do it, you'll have your total budget, and they'll have paid the date, whatever it is, and the remainder of it. So,
They have a spreadsheet or a table behind each invoice, so that's no problem.
just so we know, because I mean, when we look through these all the time unless we have the invoices there, it's really hard to know how often we're gonna see Torbay Warren more, because I think there was a couple there last week as well, or last council meeting, so, or at least one.
Back to you, sir.
Okay, there's the usual other documents there. If there's any questions, we'll be pleased to give answers if we have any.
Is the museum planners group now done? Is that the last amount for the exhibit development? Do we know? Torbay number 4?
No? You know, that, that invoice is for the production and installation of the exhibits. So there will be one probably final invoice that will come in for project closeout.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, thank you, sir. Economic Development and Tourism. Councillor Manning.
Okay, this is an update that EDO Lawrence prepared for us. And it's under the Economic Development, it's Regional Agricultural Update. It's all there. There was a representative from the Association of New Canadians attended November 22nd planning. Discussed skill gaps and labour shortages within the sector. And the committee drafted a letter to Dalhousie University requesting to reinstate the agricultural bursary program. It's all there. I'm not sure if anyone has any questions concerning any of that, which would have to go back to EDO Lawrence for sure. Torbay Wayfinding signage. There was a meeting held with Bugden Signs at History House to review the proposed location of the beacon sign and discuss timelines. The timing now with weather and stuff is probably going to hold that back. And attached to this certainly is some pictures and profiles of the signs. General business supports. EDO Lawrence has met with the MMSB regarding use of graphics and public awareness campaign that municipalities can use. So she's requested to submit the town logo be added, and working on that with the Director of Public Works. Grant application support. She's currently working with the Planning and Recreation regarding TD Green Space grant application in review of FCM funding streams. And consulting with planning is ongoing regarding potential new businesses for the town. Tourism, the 2023 garden tourism, tulip spotting numbers. It looks like there's a lot of them have been installed, and tulip beds are prepared for the winter. 350 bulbs remaining from this year's bloom, so there's a total of 8,228 tulips going to be planted. Tourism Torbay updates. 2003 ad for Torbay was submitted to Destination St. John's, be placed in 2023 Visitors Guide. And graphic for the ad is attached. Torbay Tourism Map is now available online to download. And final report for the October 13 Tourism Opportunity Session was submitted to the province, and the town should expect reimbursement of just over $2,000 as part of the Community Capacity Building Program. Next meeting is scheduled for January the 5th. Any questions, concerns?
Just one on the tulips. Is that a separate line item in the budget? I'm just curious to see how much it costs to plant 8,000 bulbs.
I'm just writing down that exact comment, cost.
We did receive some from Ottawa as well too that were gifted to us, and we did have bulbs that were purchased last year that could be replanted, and then some again for next year, so that's why the numbers are increasing.
So the 350, is it right to say that they're not planted yet? Or that
All
they
bulbs are planted, I believe, except for out here in front of the town hall. Yep. Because there's pictures there in the attachment, right, that shows the bulb, the
In addition to
placing?
the remaining from this year's bloom, I don't know, it's, that's what it seems. A total of 828 will be planted.
So from this year's bloom would be this year's, which were purchased a year prior. It's almost like we're a year behind, right? But they have to be planted in the fall, so.
All right, any other questions?
So again, I guess follow up with Tony is to get a cost from Grand Concourse on how much that's been costing for them to plant.
So is there going to be a cap put on the number of tulips eventually? Because we could only do so much at so much cost, so.
Yeah,
you know.
the spaces, it's just filling in the spaces now, so much a year. But I'll ask Deanne the timeline on that and when that's anticipated, yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't suggesting that there's anything negative about it. I'm just curious in terms of overall, because I mean, beautification is when we talk about it and it's great to see but there is an associated cost with it, and everyone thinks of their own backyard when they're doing things, and no, sorry, it doesn't work the same way type thing, right? Just I wouldn't mind just getting a snapshot of what, you know.
I'll ask
negative
Deanne
beautification
to
costs look like.
recirculate too, because we're hosting the Tulip Festival for the province next year as well too, in conjunction with Bay Roberts, Carbonear and Conception Bay South. So I'll have her recirculate all that information as well.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any other questions? All right, thank you. History, heritage, culture, and arts. Deputy Mayor.
Okay. We're just making more notes. All right, we had our meeting on the 8th, and again, it was another good meeting. Everything, I guess the staff up there are very busy. December is a busy month with different things taking place up there, and I saw some pictures where the decorations and that for the Christmas and everything took place over the weekend. We were up there for tea last week, I think it was, with the Christmas cake and puddings and all that kind of good stuff up there. The operations, the report, and that's their program. They got the January and February program now is complete, so has the program gone out for the common yet, Jen? So we still got time to put that in to go out with recreation common.
Noah and Jen are actually working together on getting the guide over the hurdle, so the History House events are included.
Yeah. They thought originally that they had met the deadline
Yeah.
when we met the other
Yes.
day,
Yeah.
so, because the common, that was going to be done a couple of weeks ago. And they had a meeting with the advisory meeting last week as well. Communications. The big thing there, I guess, is the records seem to be working out really well, but with social media and what's the best way, and we even talked about doing up some posters to work along with that. Of course, is always the cost. Volunteer program, he's on top of that. Mannion project. If anybody got any questions? We got the Killy Coast Regional Heritage Plan, next meeting for that in January, so that's pretty exciting when we get together. And of course, the grants and what have you, the schedule there, and everything that's been submitted so far as usual. Councillor Tapper, you got anything?
I just want to comment on the Mannion project, because that's moving along quite well. And with the Irish Immigrant Support Programs, the EAP, that's a program that the first phase of the Mannion project, there's funding that comes from Ireland, It is a huge amount, and they were successful the first time around. So now we're going to apply again. But this grant application actually goes through Memorial University system, their finance controller's office, and it has to be in by the end of I think it's January. That is, the application itself is completely done. They sent a copy to our CAO. Noah had a helping hand in it as well. So it seems to be well underway. So it's now or will go back into the hands of the University Vice President, Sean Cadigan, and he will be the person actually who uploads the application in the system. So it's a big part of the whole Mannion project. And there's another MOU that's being drafted, is finished actually, between the town of Torbay, Memorial University, and the government of Newfoundland and Labrador and the Mannions. It's just like a partnership, no funds or anything attached to it, but it's just something up front that is nice to have in place.
Okay.
Just like to add there that which is really good to see, the 2023-26 strategic plan that Lara Maynard is taking a lead on that. That was from the advisory board, and that there's a vacancy, so I guess that we're going out to fill the vacancy on the board. And the rest of it there, the kitchen restoration, we've talked about that, so anyway.
All right.
Anybody got any questions? Because the minutes are there for the advisory board and that as well.
Just on the business horizon, the strategic plan for the History House, and that, is there a cost associated with that to the town, or is this going to be led internally, or if there is, do we have money budgeted?
It will be entirely internal, so there's no financial cost.
And the kitchen restoration that's there, we expect to do that via grants, or is this part and parcel of the ongoing renos for the group we're under now? Or is this something that'll be different and require separate funding?
That is something that's being developed, and grant applications will be developed for that much later on, probably looking 2024.
Okay, thanks, Norm.
All right. Okay, any other questions? All right, thank you, Deputy Mayor. Infrastructure and Public Works, Councillor Pollard.
Thank you, Your Worship. We met December 7th at 8:15, myself and Councillor Appleby. The flow meter project is now coming to an end, and there were some change orders. 3 of them actually, so we need separate motions to approve those. And I guess in the motion will be explained to what it is when I read the motion there. So first motion to approve change order number 003 for project 17GI 20-00035, water system upgrade flow meters, portion in the amount of $3,764.41, HST included. This change order is in relation to a change in chamber depth due to the depth of the water line. So I can't remember if this was in the email line or
Moved it
actually.
first.
Hmm?
Move it.
Oh, sorry. So moved.
Okay, seconder?
Second.
Seconded. Now you can talk about it.
Yeah, obviously dealing with old as-built, it's never quite as accurate as this, so they had to dig down deeper to avoid that water line, so, to get to the water line actually, so there was more work associated with that, and the amount of $3,764.41.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Next motion to approve change order number 4 for project 17GI 20-00035, water system upgrades, flow meters, portion in the amount of $8,411.10, HST included. This change order is in relation to the requirement to have drainage pits versus daylighting a drain pipe. Once again, there was a situation where there was high water table, and they had to dig to put the drainage out to a drain rather than what they originally planned, so just extra work associated with that, and that was in the email line here.
Seconder?
Second.
Seconded. Questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Yes, Your Worship, yeah. Motion to approve change order number 005 for project 17 GI 20 00035 water system upgrades flow meter portion in the amount of $8,199.10, HST included. This change order is in relation to the replacement of a storm water pipe that was discovered during excavation. So once again, it was a crossover of our infrastructure and TI's infrastructure, and we had to replace a portion of the storm pipe. The pipe was actually supplied by TI, but we're the ones who had to do the work because we're the ones who tore it up,
Okay.
doing the work. So
Seconder?
Second.
Seconded. Any other questions?
Where
That's
is
funny.
that
It's just-
funding?
I did it 3 times in a row. That's unusual. Sorry. I said I spoke to it 3 times in a row.
Never
I
mind.
can go back and not speak to it and just say.
It's okay, I thought you were gonna catch on after a while. Sorry.
Where's the
Very-
funding coming from
The
that?
project is under budget and it's all part of the cost share arrangement that's there.
Okay.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
I don't think there's any more motions, thank goodness. I can't speak to anything anymore. There's not much else, there's not much more to update from the last time. Obviously, TI or Infrastructure Public Works is now concentrating on the winter season. I think winter season started the first part of December and seasonal staff hired and just getting the salt and trucks up to snuff so that they can keep us safe on the roads over the winter period. Anybody has any other questions, feel free to
Right.
ask.
Thank you. Any other questions? Great, thank you, sir.
Your Worship.
Recreation and Community Services, Councillor Goss.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We met, actually, it updated for December 7th, the 12th. We just a little recap of things going on. Christmas events are going really well so far. There's some spaces for the Christmas camp. Anybody any residents can still register online for those. The winter program registration, due to delay, the guide registration of winter events will now be open until December 20th. I know there it says the 14th, but that'll be open to residents till the 20th and for non-residents the 28th. So that's just let people know that because there's a delay in the guide going out. This year's New Year's Eve fireworks will occur at 8 p.m. on December 31st. As far as the facilities, we're going to hold off on the rink a little bit. Hopefully we'll get that going when the temperatures go down a little bit. Rental fees for this year for the Torbay Common will stay as is. And beyond that, we're just looking at some new funding for the upgrades at Torbay Common Community Garden, and the director's applying for funding for Canada Summer Jobs. Beyond that, it's a pretty light agenda that we spoke of, so unless anybody has some questions, that's my report.
I just wanted to get something clarified with you, Don. I thought that the outdoor rink, that we had taken that out off the budget. You put it
There
back
was
in the budget
a
again?
request for 2, and it was brought back to 1.
Okay, I
Yes,
didn't
because
think-
we already had the materials for that, so.
Yeah, I
yeah.
know, but I thought that there was a discussion around that not even happening, but anyway.
And we did have some funding as well, too, towards that initiative this year.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir. All right, liaison committees, Mayor's
I
comment?
just ask, when that guide becomes available, can send out to council, because we usually see a copy or ask to see it anyway in draft form? Please?
All right. Atlantic Mayor's Conference, no update. Governmental Affairs, no update. We're still waiting to hear back on our meeting with Minister Lovelace regarding water.
I'll cycle back again to see if there's any update. I know that some of the staff, the director in transportation infrastructure had some questions on the Great Pond study, so they were provided. So I will send an email in the morning asking if there's an update by the Premier's office for the meeting.
Your Worship, on that one, I think and we should really push, and I gotta go back to our meeting for the Infrastructure and Public Works. We did discuss the need for the committee to, not Infrastructure and Public Works, but the Water Committee to actually have a standard set of plans and targets and guidelines and follow-ups, so that we don't lose sight of where we're going at this, right? I mean, this has been, and no reflection, and I have no problem saying that, you know, Minister Lovelace should get on, return his calls and reach out to us. We've been trying to get him, not for funding, but just to talk about the priorities. And you spoke to the Premier, and the Premier said that his EA would get back, and they did. And now we're in waiting mode again. And well, this time we're still waiting for someone to come back to us and talk to us about the number one need in the town of Torbay, and that's the water situation. And I think it's absolutely ridiculous that we can't get a meeting with Minister Lovelace. It really is. So, you know, we just need to make sure that we follow up with all as much information we can. And with those two motions, back in the planning and development notes, there are minutes.
Right.
The whole intention behind that was to get the jump on it, and we got those two amounts now, to 57,000 and 47,000, that we can certainly speak to them about in terms of where that might fit in terms of any of their cost share programs or grant programs that we can certainly use, so we can get that out the door sooner than later as well. So.
Yep, agreed. And I know that MHA Wall is following up too on our behalf for that, to try and get that meeting going.
And he hasn't had much luck either, and
Yeah.
I won't speak for MHA Wall, but I'll let him speak to it.
Yeah, so that, to that point, let's just make sure we keep Jody in the loop on that. All right. Okay. Jack Byrne. Any update?
Byrne. We met on the 1st of December. I haven't seen the minutes yet from it. Just in brief overview, we're expecting that we'll finish the year some $38,000 to the good, which is actually good news compared to where we've been for the past 2 years, given COVID and I guess the resurgence, you know, after the initial opening. So it seems to start coming back for the usage type things. I mean, fees did go up, and I know there's some concern about the fees and that, but that's a discussion for another day. Zamboni is, looks like the purchase is still on the books, and that's gonna be an electric machine, which is great, so we don't have to worry about the exhaust from propane or anything along those lines. We expect we're gonna have to borrow about $60,000, and we agreed from a board perspective to do that, not at this meeting, but one of the previous ones, to actually take the pressure off the town so that they wouldn't have to pony up any money to cover that off. The letters went out from Shannon to the other town members for contributions thereof, and I think at the last meeting, I can't put words in it, I think Portia Coastal and Phillips had agreed to come across with some money for it as well, which is great. I think it was a great idea. I think it was put forward by Mayor Verdi at the time that we go out and try to get them to contribute at least on a go-forward basis, so we wouldn't get tangled up in ownership and those type of things. So it shows some good faith. So hopefully that is true, and we'll see that money. So that'll certainly help the $60,000 borrow side of things. Discussion around ice time is always ongoing with Northeast Minor. They have used every available prime time slot that they can, and while they're complaining about, I guess, not having enough ice time, there is time available, just the slots that they don't necessarily want to take, and it's probably earlier in the mornings than anticipated for certain times. So I think there's a discussion that needs to be had, because, you know, in the background, everyone's always still talking about second ice service and the need for that, but, you know, that's a much bigger nut to crack, and a bigger discussion. Our two new members, David Hearn and Laurie Furlong, did attend the meeting, and they'll be meeting council, I guess, the first chance in the new year, first meeting in the new year. Laurie was actually elected to be secretary of the board, so she stepped up right off the plate, which is great, and seems to have her willingness to jump in and offer assistance, and she did some on the advertising side of things, so looking forward to doing that. From the maintenance side of things, there was the rehab of the well. Number one, we had some trouble with the well water and the infrastructure around that, and as well the electric motor for the pump, so that was done at some $27,000. There is an upcoming issue, I think, that really wasn't discussed at the board meeting, but Lauren had mentioned to me, and had to do with the septic system and the fact that, unbeknownst to folks, it has to be replaced every 10 years, something along those lines. We haven't got the full details on that yet, but that's a substantial takeaway. So while I mention it now, I don't have the full details on it. It wasn't mentioned at a board meeting, it was mentioned sort of as an aside conversation, but I just wanted to throw it out there in terms of the importance of making sure that we get enough money from the running of Jack Byrne to pay for itself. And these discussions come up when a member of Jack Byrne is not in the area to speak to anything. Strategic plan as well for Jack Byrne in the new year. We're already, there were eyes on that. The events list is out up till the end of April 2023, so the folks are still working on that. We expect that we will adopt a budget early part of January. It looks like it'll be positive for the first couple of months anyway, and then the middle months are always iffy anyway, and then the latter part. So as long as, you know, hockey stays on stream and everything the way it is, I don't foresee any problems with it, but who knows, we're only ever a significant event away from having to reach out to the towns for money. They did come with some interesting statistics in terms of one that struck my mind, and listen, it's the nature of the beast, I guess, is that, you know, Northeast Minor has 52% of the ice time, but it only accounts for 25% of the revenue, right? And the events are 36% and accounts for 48% of revenue. So, you know, that's just some idea of what the subsidization is of using the arena for purposes other than ice, hockey and ice-related events. And I guess there was a conscious decision by the board some while ago to change to the Jack Byrne Regional Entertainment Centre as well, rather than just the Jack Byrne Arena. So that goes hand in hand with that. They also, Lauren had done some information in terms of the 11 days of events in November and compared it to what we actually get for ice time. So for the 11 days that we took, there was 2 craft fairs and the Prince concert. That took in $83,645 over that time frame. The regular ice time usage that we would have gotten would have been $30,488. So we, by not having the ice time rented and having the events, we picked up $53,000 in those 11 days alone, which goes right to the bottom line, obviously. And if you look at it, the fact that we're going to finish the year with $38,000, if you took that 53 out of there, we'd be looking for money from the town. So, you know, it's a balancing act. I think it's important that when everybody speaks about that behind closed doors, or someone starts to say, well, this, that, or the other thing about how Jack Byrne should operate, I guess the thing is, number one, it should pay for itself, in my mind. I'm only speaking for myself in this. And you know, in order to do that, there's got to be the trade-off of, you know, some events versus ice time. And it's not unusual. You look at any arena around, there's always events other than the actual ice usage as well. Right, that's the end of my update.
The only thing, I would just make a comment there in regards to that. When we were, as the town, before we had our community center, and we were renting that place out about 3 times a year, right, Don? I think our town was paying to rent that place 3 times, around $30,000. And that just so happened for a lot of those years happened to be the profit that the arena was making. So now that we're not out there, that's additional money that is not going in there, so that they had to recoup, and also money that we're not spending on top of anything that else like in the Jack Byrne. So anyway, thank you.
I'd
That
just
was a
like
good
to
update.
add something to that with regards to the Killy Coast mayors, deputy mayors, and town manager CAOs met Thursday night. And 2 of the agenda topics had to do with Jack Byrne, the arena, and one, the mayor from Flat Rock wasn't there, so we, I guess it was ownership, but the other one, they want to have, and it was a consensus by everybody that was here, to have a meeting in early January, because it didn't pertain, of course, to all of the towns. And I guess with some new managers and that, to look at the agreement and some issues that came up, and we felt that it was best to have it as a meeting with the mayors, CAOs, and that, to go back and review. So I don't know which town, but we said that early January, so that's something CAO just need to follow up where it was an action item that was left in the minutes, so,
It's
all right.
It's probably the management agreement that we got to review, because
Well,
that-
yeah,
the lease
yeah.
agreement we
The lease
renewed,
is done.
right?
Yeah, no, it is the management agreement, because there has been some things that have been identified and questions that some of the new people around the table have got, so the sooner the better to look
Alright.
at that.
Okay. Northeast Advisory Council.
We haven't had one since, the next one will be in January, middle of January.
Okay. RNC. I was talking to Constable Cadigan over at our tree lighting. He showed up with members of the Outer Cove Marines for our tree lighting. Thank you for doing that. And I happened to mention to him that I would like to invite him in to come to one of our council meetings to give an update to council and to the residents on the ongoing efforts of the RNC in our area, and best advice to give the residents when we're dealing with speeding issues and dangerous driving in our neighborhood. So we'll reach out to him, Don, and line him up for a day in the new year. He was happy to do it. Torbay Volunteer Fire Department, Councillor Manning.
Okay, the minutes are there for the November 21st meeting, and as always, the fire department are responding certainly to their calls, and they're up to they're continuously training and such. A few things that I would like to just touch on was that they had the kids' Christmas party, actually it was yesterday now, I wasn't able to attend, but I hear that it went well. And they have their special needs Christmas party this Saturday, December the 17th, and expecting approximately 32 people, so I'm going to be there for that to help out, and actually looking forward to it. Their new pumper went into service on December the 6th, and the 2012 pumper is now stationed in Flat Rock. My understanding that disposal of the old pumper that was in Flat Rock is in the process of being posted on the town's website and social media to, I guess, to sell. Type
Yeah,
thing.
they got some good
Generate.
interest so far. At least 4 fire departments have inquired on it.
Excellent.
I was talking to Chief the other day about that.
Excellent. Other than that, certainly the minutes are there. Anyone has any questions or concerns? Feel free to ask. Gone.
All right, thank you. Our Municipalities Committee, we met this past weekend in St. John's, and we had a good meeting. We had the whole day on Friday was revolved around healthcare, and we had Sister Elizabeth, and we had the ADM from Department of Health, and we had Chief Goody out to talk about paramedics, and so we had a good discussion around where the deficiencies are in the healthcare system and how municipalities are gonna be able to work on that. So once I get the minutes back from that, I'll share them with council. Our minutes from our Grand Falls meeting were adopted, so once I get my hands on those, I'll include them in our council package for everybody's review. But that was a good meeting, and one thing that I haven't really decided. We talked about changing how often we meet and the structure, but that'll have to bring forward to the board of M&L next weekend when I got my board meeting, so I'll give you an update after that on that. All right, any questions? All right. No notice of motion, new business, Councillor Tapper.
I just want to say thank you. I think in my estimate anyway that our celebrations this year, come home year and 50th anniversary, it's probably the best year we've ever had. You know, as far as the activities and the turnout, I think the staff did a fantastic job, and all the volunteers, and there were many volunteers who participated in the events. So I just want to say my kudos to anybody who made this year a great year in Torbay.
Well said. Thank you.
Councillor Pollard.
Thank you, Your Worship. I guess Councillor Tepper took the words out of my mouth, and that's the reason I don't speak very often in these sessions, but I mean, this time of year, it's certainly worthy to thank all the volunteers, thank staff obviously as well. I'll do that at the budget meeting, whenever, but thank all the volunteers who are so vital to everything we do here in the community. I mean, I just recently was involved in the concert there last evening, and just knowing the amount of time and effort it takes just to plan one event, I can only imagine, the bodies and the amount of time and effort that it takes to plan all the events that have taken place here throughout the year. We should realize how lucky we are that we do have a, substantial volunteer base that can actually get out and provide the services that the town would not otherwise be able to provide without their assistance for the betterment of the community. And, so I just want to say and echo Councillor Tapper's thoughts. Thanks a million, and all the best of the season to everybody, and look forward to continued relying on your shoulders to continue our volunteers moving forward. Thanks.
Said. Councillor Goss.
I actually like to speak to that a little bit as well. It wasn't my first thought, but I have had to make some sort of comment on it, because I think there's been a sense of renewed optimism in our town after this year. That I've lived here for some 20-odd years, and I've never seen some of the things that were done this year that were so well attended, and so much good positive feedback. And I know we've had things in the past years that weren't well attended, concerts or whatever. So I really wanted to congratulate everybody involved, from the town to the volunteers to everybody. I think it's been a wonderful year after coming back from a couple of years of some hardships and COVID and everything else. I'm very happy to say that it was done well by everybody. The other thing I'd like to congratulate, I was part of something yesterday. The grade 8 girls volleyball team from Juniper Ridge. We went to a fall league, the Avalon Fall League, for the bunch of schools all around at St. John's in grade 8. And we went in as the 5th seed, and we knocked off the first seed right off the hop in the first set. Then we knocked off the 3rd seed, and then we knocked off the team that were much better than us as well. We took them to a 3rd set, and it was an amazing thing to watch those kids and how much they've improved. They just started playing last year, and from September to right now, we're only in December. It's really a tribute to those kids and the coaching staff. So I want to say congratulations.
That's excellent. Yeah, that is excellent. Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Yes, without repeating anything that Councillor Tapper and Councillor Pollard said, it has been a great year, and I guess tomorrow night, I just had a note here about the seniors dinner, so I guess that'll put a final touch on the activities planned for this year with regards to that group. Say a big thank you to everybody involved with the tree lighting, like that choral group, and same thing at the concert last night under the leadership of Derek Diamond. Was fabulous. And then the parade that a few of us were involved in as mummers, it was really a great experience, and to see the expression on people's face when you sung out to them and they had no idea who you were. So I really loved that part. Anyway, the other thank you is to Kim Osborne, who filled in taking the minutes and that on behalf of Dawn on Thursday night. And I had the draft minutes and that back today, so I really appreciate the fact that she came and had everything run smoothly, and an extra eye to detail for it all. So it's always a pleasure to work with her, so thank you very much for that.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Could I, Mr.
yeah.
Mayor, could I just mention one other thing?
Sure, go ahead.
Just on Tony and his choir last night, Councillor Pollard, for those of us who were there and participated, I think was just an amazing event. And, you know, it was video recorded, so when that's done and comes out, maybe we should put it on our website and spread it, because the last song itself, there were 4 people who sang in different languages, and it was just a lot of, you know, minority groups were represented as well. So it was just something you don't see in Torbay very often. So if anybody got an opportunity to have a look at it, when it comes out, I think it's worth your while.
It's awesome.
All right, to me, yeah, so I got a couple thank yous, and I don't want to belabor the point, but I do want to say thank you to all of our volunteers that helped out this summer. And also, what we always had to remember is our volunteers are there to support us, so we as council and residents had to be there to support our volunteers. If they're coming out working hard to do a job, then we need to be there to support them and work with them and to make what it is that they're doing a success. And this summer has been excellent. I don't know how many, I think I cooked 800 chips of bacon or whatever the other morning, and we made pancakes and sausage for breakfast with Santa. It was a great time. Our volunteers were there. We did tree settings, and you know, it was nice to get back to that type of event where volunteers and council are there working together with our staff to do it instead of just throwing some money at a caterer to come in and do the work. And I think that that's the path that we've been going on this year. And to Ward's point about the renewed optimism in this is how you do it. You get your volunteers engaged, you engage with them, and then they know that we appreciate what they're doing, and then we'll keep building on that, go forward. Thank you, Deputy Mayor, for filling in for me for the our Killycoast Mayor's meeting the other night. I couldn't make it. I had my urban municipalities committee meeting in St. John's this weekend. I had mayors from across the province in town, so I had to deal with that. And anyway, thank you. I heard that everything went good.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's a good meeting.
they probably like stealing with you better than me.
Say that.
And one other thing that I want to mention, and this has been, I guess, I remember back in 2020, and I got a call from the Good Deeds Cup people to advise me that our Northeast Eagles under, or I guess they were under, must have been under 13 at the time, or even younger. It was the Bantam Adam C team, so whatever age that would be, or a PVC. Anyway, they won the Good Deeds Cup. First team ever in Newfoundland, Labrador to win it. And shortly after they won, I remember being there that morning when they all walked in. They had no idea that they had won, and they came into Rainbow Riders, and we were there prior. And I knew like 2 days before they did, and I was like trying to keep this. Well, obviously I did keep a secret, but it was so fun to see them come in. And then COVID hit, and they never really had a chance to recognize it. They did. They had a party and all this kind of stuff. But Wednesday, Darren Barber reached out to me and said that they were going to do something on Wednesday night for the team to give them a presentation after the first period at the hockey game. So I went to the hockey game after the first period. They did a presentation of a mounted jersey with the Good Deeds Cup on it, and recognized, and they had someone there from Rainbow Riders talking about it, and it was really a great thing that they did, and I'm very happy that they were able to finally publicly recognize what they've done, and I was happy to be there along for that. So congratulations to them, and you know, it's a tremendous accomplishment for them and their parents and everybody that was involved, and the people that go to Rainbow Riders that avail of that service out there, they are the ultimate beneficiaries of that. So it was really nice seeing, and those kids are really proud of what they've done. So that's all I had to mention.
Just
And
to
I
add to
think
that,
I'm done.
Just to add to that, Mr.
Yeah.
Mayor, I think, I don't know if I've been in the rink a lot, but I just noticed this week that the Good Deeds banner is now down,
At the end.
I guess in the far end down by the clock, that I didn't see that before, so it was pretty cool to see that there.
Yeah, agreed. All right, Q&A. Ms. Lacy, you got any questions? There's nothing came in through email.
I'm
or anything,
saving
so?
it for the new year.
Okay. All right. So, our next public council meeting is scheduled to take place on Monday, January 9th, 2023, at 6:30 PM. There will be a meeting before that, not a regular public council meeting, but a special public council meeting to adopt the 2023 budget. Keep an eye out for that. It will be posted and on our social media and sent out to our email. So, with that, I would ask for a motion to adjourn, please.
So,
Move, seconded, seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Thank you very